One thing I want to ask you both about actually with Mad Lions is if you remember last year when that team obviously came into the LEC and then they were even in the spring split back then, they were like a breakout team doing all this incredible stuff, beating G2 in a series. Right. One of the things I found strange was this. The hype I was told about those players who were the rookies who came into Mad Lions was I was told like, dude, you've got to watch Carzzy. Like he's going to be so insane. He's going to be like fucking hard carrying from ADC. Like he's basically, I was told he was going to be like the new Forgiven. Like that was the way it was like primed to me. I have to say, like, I'm not sure that narrative really like fucking lives still, mate, because this year, obviously, he had his problems in spring at times, like he was dodgy in the final. I thought he's like, for an ADC, I always say this, right? I know it's a bit of like an old school perspective on ADC, but I do think ADC is a role that you have to be really careful about not dying and not into. Like, you have to be super responsible about what you do. He's a player where I feel like I don't know if I can rely on him. Like, when I look at their team, I personally look at like Kaiser and think he's the fucking star of that lane. You know, like that guy actually does seem like a very, very shrewd player, smart, and knows when to play mate. I even think he sort of like has the old quality of a support that has to babysit the ADC sometimes. Like I'm kind of like I'm sort of like I think the skills of Carzzy are very good, but I'm not that in on his style. Like, am I just a hater? Is he actually one of the best ADCs? What do you think?
I mean, I think he's okay. Let's calculate who are the top 3 AD carries in Europe. It's probably Upset, Reckless in no particular order, and then who's the
Hansama maybe.
Hansama, Upset, Reckless, right?
Oh, that's a pretty solid 3, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely not amongst them. I would put him probably around 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. Like maybe I see him similarly to Kobe, and Kobe's obviously different in terms of his playstyle, but in terms of individual strength, I think they're similar. It just feels like the Carzzy, when he actually wants to play the game, actually like really likes to play it, he does turn it up to another level. It's not necessarily something that is to be seen in the regular season unless he really enjoys the games, but it's something I felt I saw in the last playoffs. He had a couple of off games, but that variance in terms of like being great at something and being bad at the other, like in the next game, is something he brings to the table. And I think it's actually good for Matt because there's stability. They can bring stability from other roads. I think Kaiser kind of brings stability. Armwood kind of brings the same thing every single game. Like obviously pops off a bit more when he's from Wukong, but still you kind of have expectations set. But even at Yoa and Humanoid, they're not necessarily like the most volatile players, I would say. But Carzzy kind of fits that niche that they need. Which makes Mad Lions unique in that aspect. They're definitely different in terms of playstyle from the AD carry position to something like Fnatic or G2. So it sets them apart.
What do you think, Zab?
I think he's the most versatile ADC in EU because like the 3 mentioned above are players that get funneled like Uzi was. So you trust their talent, so it's auto realized in some point. They're good, so you funnel gold, so they're good, so you do it again. Yes. The Pygmalion effect. But Carzzy can play weak side the same way Kobe does, but he can play strong side. Like he knows, I think Mad bot lane can communicate around, we're stacking the bot lane, we're going to execute a dive on this wave, so guys, you need to be there and there. Jungle, can you come? Or top, can you TP? Like they have this communication. You see Mad Lions playing bot side. The problem is, once again, Mad Lions heavily depends on like pleasure and motivation, also. And you're gonna see regular season Carzzy just dying 2v2 in lane 3 times, and you're like, what's going on with Carzzy? And it's just gonna tweet like my bad guys, and then you're gonna see him at MSI being the best player in his team by a far margin. So his high are very high, his low are very lows. But I think that during playoffs and world and international tournaments, he's gonna perform much better than what he does in regular season. So I'm really not afraid. But he's not the best, but probably for me the most versatile ADC that you can afford in ADC at the moment.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.